Who needs Mr. J? Yeah, there was no way I was going to keep that look going for the whole time. Okay! Birds of Prey. The Fantabulous Emancipation of one Harley Quinn. I have seen it. I had hoped to go and see it with Liz, but timing did not work out in our favor for that. I am going to have her back on the channel at some point, guys. It's just, life and scheduling and the speed at which I try and turn these things around. It's a pain. But I've seen it. It is a good time. I think some of the reviews I've seen are possibly overpraising it a bit. The main word that I would bring up to describe it is just fun. It is a fun movie. And if you're looking for more than that, I'm not necessarily sure you're going to find it. And it has a few lull moments in it, but honestly, I just had a good time with this thing. It is undoubtedly, as far as the overall vibe and feel and pace and energy of the thing goes, this is exactly what I wanted Suicide Squad to be, and it completely failed to be. Because it is energetic, it's fun, it's colorful, it's peppy, the action is hard-hitting, it's not needlessly raunchy, but like in a situation where, say, you or I was in, where we would swear, these people swear. I'm also a sucker for most of these characters. I really was worried that I've kind of gotten burnt out on Harley. She's gotten very overexposed in, well, honestly, the last decade or so. But I do like her, and Margot Robbie really gets to dig into her a lot better here than she got to do with Suicide Squad. And she does get Harley. She has her own take on the character, but no, that's definitely Harley. So whatever issues were going on in Suicide Squad weren't her fault. I'm not sure actually that any of the issues going on in Suicide Squad were the actress' faults, except for the Joker, who does not appear in here. Gets referenced. Actually, continuity-wise, I'll just touch on that because I'll forget to bring it up later. DC is kind of doing an interesting thing where they have yet, at least as far as I can tell, outright contradicted the existing continuity from Batman v Superman or Justice League. But it's referenced, or in Suicide Squad for that matter, but it's referenced in very broad strokes. Kind of this thing sort of happened. But not a lot of direct, close-knit ties, which is good, because it still has the sense that these things are happening in the same universe, and we have a sense of a timeline on it, but it is its own thing, which is what it always needed to be, and this absolutely is, enjoyably so. So, like I mentioned with Robbie, she obviously is having an absolute blast playing this part. There's a lot of fourth wall breaking, but it's established very early on, and it's sort of the flow. This entire thing is being presented as a story Harley is telling. So it makes the fourth wall breaking a little bit less gimmicky than I had feared it was going to be, knowing that it happened in here. So that worked for me pretty well. The other characters, these are characters I just like. I like Huntress. I really like Black Canary. I love Renee Montoya. And I haven't read a ton of stuff with Cassandra Cain in it, but I've always liked her. That having been said, Cassandra Cain bears the least resemblance to her comic book counterpart. Actually bears almost none. They basically just pulled the name. The other characters have been altered and shifted and rejiggered a little bit, but are fairly identifiable as their comic book characters. And all well played as well, including Cassandra Cain. As much as she is not a representation of the character from the comics, she's well performed too. And everybody really, I was going to say bring their A game. That might be, again, overselling it. Everybody brings their fun game. Because, with actors, you can tell when they're coming in okay, serious work here. And then you can tell when actors come in and go, yeah, this is just for the paycheck. And you can tell when actors come in and go, yeah, this one's fun. I can't believe I'm getting paid to do this. And that last one is the vibe we get off of this from pretty much everybody who is in it. If I were to pick a favorite, I'm kind of partial to Renee Montoya because I really like her as a character anyway. And I've always liked Rosie Perez. I always kind of felt that she was sort of undervalued as an actress. And the film has fun sort of playing up the overly hard-boiled, almost cliche storyline, sort of the rogue cop thing for Montoya, and it has fun sort of jabbing at that a little bit. The take on Black Canary is interesting. That actress has a really captivating presence, and as for Huntress, she doesn't get a ton of lines, yet a lot is brought across with those few lines because of the performance that gets delivered. We spend by far the most time with Harley and a decent amount of time with Cassandra, Cass, usually referred to in this. We've also got the villain, who, there's a couple of villains in this, but the primary villain, we've got Ewan McGregor playing Black Mask. He was fun too, until he wasn't, but I mean that in a good way. And what I mean by that is he starts out very just almost cartoonish, as a villain, this sort of overblown, it's a fun movie, you don't take him too seriously, but then he's got a couple of scenes later on that you're like, oh, you're not fun, you're dangerous. Like, you're unhinged and dangerous and, like, not in a fun way. And instead of feeling like they dropped the ball on the character and he stopped being fun, it was more of a, yeah, you think this guy's fun? He's not. And it was a transition. Totally worked for me. I dug it. I also really like this take on Victor Zsasz. Not my new favorite by any means. Gotham, Victor Zsasz, all the way, every day, forever. But I really did find this take interesting. He has a very off-putting, unsettling, just slightly off-kilter delivery to a lot of his lines. And there's this vibe between him and Black Mask that reads to me very much as, honestly, a possibly unrequited crush. The possibly is just on the unrequited. The crush, I think, is definitely there. He's got that level of nobody understands Roman but me. Nobody can protect him but me. That sort of possessiveness that, whether it's intended to actually read as Zsasz having a romantic crush on him, is certainly possessive male, romantically gay coded. In terms of the level of obsession he has with doing right by Black Mask, by Roman. And also, like, he seems to get some enjoyment out of nudging him into unstable areas. Like, he encourages the guy's worst instincts. So you also get the vibe off of Zsasz that part of what he really likes about working for Roman is it allows him to do all the horrible things he really wants to do. So he will nudge Roman and encourage. It's not like he's manipulating him into doing something he wouldn't do otherwise, but he absolutely is encouraging the worst possible behavior out of Roman because it gives him license to do incredibly terrible stuff. So I thought it was a pretty good take on Zsasz. I rather enjoyed him quite a bit as well. The action was actually really good. There's strategic use of slow motion at a few points, which has kind of become standard in action movies right now, but it's well deployed, and more important than anything else, this thing has something that, to me, matters possibly more than anything else in a good action scene, which is the hits look and sound like they hurt. And that, for me, sells it a lot. If you can avoid over rapid cutting, and part of it's cheating, I guess, with the slow-mo, but they have enough long sort of takes so you can really see how the hit is being delivered, and The hits hurt, and I love that. I think the one thing I would sort of knock it on as far as the action goes is I feel like the climactic fight wasn't really enough of an escalation as far as combat had been. It was just against more. It was just these women fighting more guys in a slightly more colorful and ridiculous setting, but the nature of the combat didn't change. It was the same sort of fighting we've been seeing up to this point, which is not to say that it was bad. It's just, I don't think that simply throwing more guys at them was enough to escalate the threat and the fight to have it feel more like a climax. It still worked, and the final confrontation with Roman I actually quite liked, including how that pans out at the very end. I won't spoil it, but I did dig that a lot. I like how this sets up the Birds of Prey to be their own thing, and actually possibly even be their own thing absent Harley Quinn, which I definitely appreciate because I like the Birds of Prey. And as much as I did have fun with this movie, they should not be shackled to Harley Quinn, and they should be allowed to spread their wings. Oh God, why did I say that? Anyways, this was a good time. This was fun. This was high energy. This was entertaining. There's a tiny lull in the middle that's mostly built around Harley and Cassandra sort of bonding and getting to know each other, and it was necessary structure-wise, but I don't know. I was going to say it goes on too long. I'm not sure it does. It just didn't hold my interest nearly as much as the stuff that had led up to it and the stuff that came after it. It's just a little bit of a lull in the middle. But these are minor complaints, that and the climax. The rest of it, it's just fun. It is raucous, it is intense, it is hard-hitting, it is energetic, it is colorful, it is a dang good time at the movies. Birds of Prey. You seen it? What'd you think about it? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something on down in the comments and let's talk about it. There's a bunch of stuff to do as well. You can support me on Patreon and help me, keep the lights on around here. Plus, the usual. Like, subscribe, share this around, tell your friends, all that stuff. Or don't. You don't have to. I'm not going to tell you what to do. End of the day, you're the council. I'm just running the meetings. And until next time, this council is adjourned. Puddin'.